This video is about driving in the rain, and it's just an opportunity. I was going to do a video today and it started to rain. I thought, why not do a video on rain and driving and so on, because I've got a few people who've been teaching now for the last 4 or 5 weeks who've never driven in the rain, and they're excited about it. It's the weather changing, which is strange really, because most people want the sun all the time. So what you've got to remember is, when you're driving in nice dry conditions and there's nothing hazardous, then you can drive at reasonable speeds. So reasonable speeds wouldn't be far off the speed limit if it's safe to do so. But when you're driving in that type of conditions, it's a 2-second gap from you and the car in front of you. When you're driving in wet conditions, the gap doubles to 4 seconds. So you need more time to react to someone braking. If you brake hard, there's a possibility you're going to skid on the wet ground. So remember that. And there's also little hazards as well, which I'll talk about when we're driving. Now, one of the first things you've got to remember is your windscreen wipers. So you need to know where they are. And if you've got yourself a car and you've never driven in the rain, then sit down for a couple of minutes in your car and just find out where they are. So you've got 3 sort of settings. You've got your first setting, which is the intermediate setting, which comes on about every 5 seconds, as you'll see there. And you've got your second setting, which is the normal driving conditions, which is constantly flicking from right to left. And then you've got your the next setting, which is when the rain conditions are a lot more intense and you need more windscreen wipers to clear the windscreen. So I'm going to use it on normal conditions. The other thing to remember is also, with it raining like it is, it's gone quite dark. So to make it more visible, I'm going to put my headlights on. So I'm going to go from having no headlights on to side lights to headlights. So I've got more time for people to see me, and I'm a bit more visible. Less people are going to step out. It's easier. And while we're driving, I'll just talk about what sort of other things. So let's have a quick look round. I'll just notice my back window on, so I'm going to put the rear windscreen wiper on at the same time. The car going past me, and I'm going to move off. So while we're driving, obviously the rain's coming down, so there's a bit more noise outside. And reasonable speeds, that's what you've got to keep remembering. Reasonable speeds all the time makes it easier. If you're driving fast on roads that are wet, there's a risk that you're not going to be able to stop quick enough. And if you try to stop braking hard, there's a risk that you're going to lose a bit of grip on your tyres. Another tip, by the way, as you're coming towards autumn and winter, make sure you check your tyres. Make sure they're not getting too low, because if they get into the minimum, then obviously anything below 1.6 millimeters is illegal, and if you're getting below that, you're going to get a possible fine if you get pulled over with tread depth that's on the minimum or below. So be careful. And also the other thing to remember is, when you're driving in these type of conditions, it's just be more careful. It's harder to see things, so approach things a little bit slower, expecting to not see things as clear because the light conditions have dropped. You will see cars with no headlights on, and that's their choice, but I'm putting mine on so more visible. It's better so that motorcyclists and bicyclists and pedestrians can see you more, so there's less chance of stepping out in front of you. You can see now it gets quite noisy, so it's a lot noisier than what you're normally used to. So I'm giving myself plenty of time to slow down, and that way I'm not braking hard. Now, if you, like I say, I've mentioned losing the grip and skidding a few times. If you've done the emergency stop, I'm sure your instructors talked about skidding and what causes it. Well, obviously the rain causes it, because you're going to have a wet ground. Now with lots of rain, it's going to cause possibly anything that's at the side of the road that's like gravel or dirt, it's going to turn to mud. So you're going to get slushy mud stuff at the side where the curbs are. So if you're pulling over next to the curb and you brake hard, it could be your left wheel on the left starts to lose a bit of grip and skids. So just be prepared for that and slow down earlier. So I'm just driving around here talking about what sort of conditions and giving myself plenty of time The other thing also is, if you've never used your headlights for a while, is also check them. So turn them on, have a walk round, make sure they're all working, because I've just noticed the car ahead of me then, one of his lights are not working at the back. And if you're driving around with your tail light's not working, or your brake lights, then, well, tail lights, you're going to get pulled over by the police if they see you when I'm on. And if your brake lights are not working, then the car behind you doesn't know you're braking, because they're not going to light up when you put your foot on the brake. So it's a good idea to check them at this time of year. I'm just going to pull into this estate again, so it's a bit quieter then, because as you know, the faster you go on these roads, the bigger it becomes. Now, do you see that truck coming towards me then? All that spray coming off the back of his truck. That's what you're going to get. So keep your distance from big vehicles when you're on the road. You're going to get all the spray coming back off it. Let's give him a bit of space. I'm just driving through the estate. Things do look different when the rain comes down, you know, and visibility is obviously restricted. So I'm hoping this little video, especially if you've never driven in the rain, is helping you. It's the sort of thing to think about, what things you can do, what things you can't do. So we'll move from here in a few minutes onto the main road at this point. And other things to remember is you've got your windscreen wipers on the front and back of the windows. Your side windows and mirrors are probably covered in rain, so you could lower your window down and put it back up, and that's probably going to clear some of the rain off so you can actually see out the window. Because if you come to a junction and you want to see on your right and left, you're going to find it difficult to see because the rain's covered the window, the side windows. Obviously when you're driving around after a few minutes it's going to clear off, but if you first get in the car, it might be an idea if at that point there you just spend a minute and walk around the car, clearing off some of the rain on the side windows, so that when you set off it's a bit more visible, you can see what's approaching from the sides, and you've got less chance of missing pedestrians approaching from the side roads who are about to cross the road in front of you. So there's a little tip there for you. So we're just going to go back to the main road, and while we're driving around I'll try and point out what sort of little tricks people do. Around him. So you can see ahead of us is the car, a little bit of a spray coming off it. But if you keep your distance, it's not too bad. But if you get close up, remember, keep that 4-second gap. So we're building our speed up now, back on the dual carriageway. Now there's a big lorry HGV ahead of me. You can see the back of it, all the spray coming up. If you're a lot closer, there's a lot more rain on the ground, you're going to find it difficult to see. So keep your distance, keep it up at least 4 seconds. React to the problems ahead of us. Start going on the brake a little bit earlier. Bringing the speed down controlled. Don't leave it till the last few seconds. Once you're there, you know, the other thing is, when there's lots of rain, you'll find that there's a lot more traffic going slower on the roads, there's a lot more maybe tailbacks on the junctions and roundabouts, where people are being a little bit more careful, because you've got to remember that you've got to be careful on the junctions pulling out, because you might not see someone if you approach it fast. You might not see them very well through your side windows, or they might not have the headlights on so they don't stand out so much, because the grey skies are making it dark, and they've got a dark coloured car and they haven't got the headlights on. So all these little things will contribute to possible risks, and you've got to take this into account all the time. And like I mentioned about the appropriate speeds, now on a 70 mile an hour on a clear day and it's a nice straight bit, you're probably doing about 65, 68, but when the rain's coming down, you're going to drop possibly to 60 or maybe a bit less. So, and if it's coming down hard, you'll drop the speed down even more. So I'm going to go in the left lane when I've got a bit more space. I don't want to kind of squeeze past him too early. That's it. So I'm bringing him off slowly. And also the other thing to remember, and this is something that you probably never come across, is the white lines on the road, giveaway lines, or the arrows on the ground. When it's raining, it's harder to see. So you've got to be aware of that. So the lane divides between the left and right lane, you can just about work out the white dashed line, but in the nice dry day, it's clear, it's easier. So I'm building my speed up, I'm just getting towards about 50 at the moment. There's lots of noise off the rain. So it's quite a noisy cab at the moment with all the rain coming through. I'm just trying to demonstrate what sort of conditions you're going to come across. And then we're going to be doing right turns, so it's being a bit more careful than normal. You can see the spray off the car in front of me. So if you get too close to it, it's going to spray it onto your window. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see what's happening in front of you. So keep your gap. Keep that at least 4 seconds. If you're not sure how to measure 4 seconds, I'll tell you in a second how to do it. So what you do then is you get a car in front of you or a vehicle, so that car there, as it goes past that white sign, you count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 5 seconds there. Same again, the brown sign goes past it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a bit more. And that's how you count it. So you let the vehicle pass the sign, and then you count in seconds until you reach the sign, and then you know how much of a gap you've got then. So I'll just get off this main road. So you can see I'm a bit quieter than normal when I'm in driving rain, because I'm being a bit more cautious and a bit more aware of the danger, where when it's a nice dry clear day it's a bit easier to see things. So remember, be a little bit careful when you're driving in rain. I'll just do a left turn into this estate and we'll pull over. So we'll do a left turn into here. I'm giving that car plenty of time for me to slow down. I'll pull over here on the left. So if we can give ourselves a few recaps then, which is keep that gap from the car in front of you or the vehicle, give at least 4 seconds in wet conditions compared to 2 seconds in dry conditions. The other thing would be make sure you're visible, so put your headlights on so people can see you. It's a good idea also to check around the car if you've never checked for a while, to make sure they're actually all working, your lights, because if they're not working, people are not going to know what you're doing. The other thing will be get pulled over by the police if some of your lights are not working. Another thing would be also is to keep your gap from a large vehicle and rain, because all that spray coming off is coming towards you, and if you're close behind it, you're not going to see him brake, you know, you're not going to see what's going on, and before you know it, you're going to bump into him. So keep that space. One other last thing is be a little bit careful. Don't take them risks. You know, in wet conditions, you might not see the cars come in, because you might see a pedestrian walking out from behind a tree who's about to walk out. So be careful. Good luck with the driving, and I hope this quick video on driving in the rain's helping you. Take care.